Okay.
Hello.
Oh my God.
Welcome to our meet and greet. I'm Tori, this is Chrissy and Eric, and together we make the team of Equinox Learning Hub. So we're here today to answer some questions and let you know a little bit about how Equinox Learning Hub started and how we do what we do, and more importantly, how we can help you be part of our ever expanding family. So by all means, do drop any comments or questions in the chat, and we will answer those. So first off, I guess I will talk about how Equinox Learning Hub actually came into being. So it's kind of an odd story that started many years ago when my son came home in grade 1 and declared that he was actually being quite bullied because his shirt said, I rule. And one of his classmates said, well, no, you don't. And there's only one person that does. And it wasn't somebody that we actually followed in our household. But he thought it would be a good idea if he did, just so that he could fit in with the rest of his classmates. And that was really traumatic for me, probably even more traumatic for him. And at that point, I realized that how important it was being pagan, how important it was to bring pagan into our everyday life. It was fine that I worshipped, but how could we bring that in for Eric? And honestly, and for my daughter Holly, and for my husband. And so that's where the beginnings of Equinox Learning Hub started. We eventually ended up homeschooling our kids, and there weren't a lot of resources out there for earth-based families that believed in mastery learning, that believed in projects and learning in a method that is not just one stream, but to do multiple streams of learning at one time. So there wasn't a lot of stuff out there. And so I really, being that I come from a teaching background, I just said, well, I guess I have to create my own. And that's what I did. But I never got paid for it because it was my kids. And then other people liked it. And they're like, would you do that for me? And I'm like, of course I'll do that for you. So I did. Never got paid for it. I just did it because I really love kids and I wanted them to have the same beautiful experience that my kids were having. And I wanted them to play and I wanted them to love learning and I wanted them to love and be proud of their lives and go forward and do it. So we kept homeschooling. Eventually, my son graduated at the top of his class, ever proud of him. And now he's part of the company too. With his own unique perspective on learning and project-based management and all of that kind of stuff. So we continued going forward, and then I had this idea that I would start this little blog that would just have like little learning projects on it. And maybe TPT would be a place I could sell some of them, but really it wasn't a thought that I could ever make a business out of it. I didn't have that kind of foresight. I didn't have that kind of vision that it could be that. I knew it could be something bigger, but I didn't really know how to get there. So one day I was at a conference and a very influential human introduced me to Chrissy and said, hey, she's a teacher too. You should talk to her. And I was like, oh, okay, because all teachers do need to apparently talk to each other. So I did go over and say, hey, and she went, hey, are you that person? I'm like, I am. And she went, I'm the person. I'm like, oh my God, you are. And then a very, very fast friendship developed between the two of us. We had this same vision for what at-home learning could look like or project-based learning could look like. We had the same vision for how we could help not just a couple kids, but a whole bunch of kids. We had the same vision where we could present education that was accessible, that was fun, that taught our children the full curriculum without any hardship, and it was easily adaptable to like all levels. We had many conversations, and I am sad that Chrissy's first company did not go well. They were not able to come to fruition, but that meant that Chrissy was available for us to actually form together as a partnership, and together we created Equinox Learning Hub, a truly international meeting of minds between an American and a Canadian who, she knows a lot more about business than I do. I don't know anything about business. And together we created a perfect whole. Curriculum that was accessible on a platform that's easy to access, in a team environment where we actually provide support to our parents. We don't just let them buy the curriculum and set them off on their own. We all of a sudden had this massive vision, and the vision just kind of got bigger and bigger and larger and more complex. And then all of a sudden, we're here. And we're so excited to have people join us, and we're so excited to see kids using our curriculum, not just for homeschooling, but after school. We have had daycare providers be interested in our curriculum as well, for projects and stuff. Grandmas have been interested in our curriculum because they need projects to do on the weekend, and people who just need a little bit of extra. So there are some parents out there that just need a little bit of extra help at the end of the day, and we're there for them too. So that's kind of how we ended up where we are today. We're super excited to be out there. We're super excited to be providing curriculum and support to our lovely parents, regardless of where you are in the world. So Chrissy is the lovely other half of our creation team. So she does curriculum as well as a whole bunch of other stuff behind the scenes that nobody really sees until they're done, but vital. Otherwise, our business literally would not survive. Eric down there, he is our tech guy. We call him our tech witch. He does a lot of our social media now, and goes forward and helps a lot with the gaming and publishing and a lot of the really things that nobody ever does see. And of course, Eric is also the person that reads all of our books. So you'll recognize his voice because he is the fellow that reads all the books. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a roundabout of who we are and what we do. Mm-hmm. Chrissy, do you want to maybe answer a little bit about how important STEM is to our program?
So yes, kind of coming into curriculum and project-based learning, me and Tori would talk about, again, the STEM aspect. So I come from a STEM background, science, technology, engineering, and math. And what we try to do when we are creating curriculum is to bring that into it. We believe in project-based. So the previous school that I worked for, we were a project-based school. We were what we call a STEAM school because we also very much value the arts. And I'm still very much an art person. I still, theater and computer science and art and band. I'm that person. So what we realized that not every kid can understand a worksheet. You can hand them a worksheet and tell them to do it, but that's not going to retain the knowledge. That's not going to actually activate the learning. That's just memorization. And so what STEM kind of does is actually brings all those concepts, all the very tricky science part and the technology part and the math part and the engineering part. And then what we also do here at ELH is we bring in the ELA parts and the reading parts and the writing parts. And we bring it all together to make it into where kids are doing projects and they are actually learning. They're going outside. And when we say, hey, go out and collect some leaves for our K1 group, and let's look at that and let's build on top of that, okay? They're going to remember that. They're going like, oh, yeah. So when they go later down the road, when we start talking about botany and we're talking about plant life and the whole ecosystem, stuff like that, they're going to have that start of that memory of that first time going out to that scavenger hunt and how it relates to as they get older. And so that's kind of what we kind of build into our curriculum. So that's us in a nutshell on STEM.
So, and I think the really interesting thing that you said there, and I just really want to highlight it, is again how multimodal we are. We aren't just like, okay, yeah, we need to learn botany. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite projects that one of our students really had a good time with just recently was where we had them make a dragon. So they made a dragon using a toilet paper roll and a bunch of other supplies. So they colored it, made it their dragon, and then they did an exothermic reaction where they watched what happens when you mix two different substances together. So you get that volatile, awesome explosion. So dragon is spewing stuff out. They learned about Komodo dragons, real dragons in real life. And then they learned about the historical, where dragons, the concept of dragons may have actually come from. So looking at dinosaurs and looking at the various different critters that lived back when those dragons were thought to be real. And you realize, interestingly, that we've also dealt with all of these other components within the book that we use to umbrella it all, that we also did the social emotional learning, where we talked a lot about, well, how does it feel to not fit in? How does it feel to fit in? What do you do with bullying? What happens if somebody like a dragon bullies you? And so we talk about all of those things within the entire unit. The unit is one succinct thing. And then when you're done that, you realize you've done several weeks of work, but you've literally covered an entire huge umbrella of curriculum within that. And we'll revisit it. So we revisit a lot of those topics and concepts, which again leads to the whole concept of mastery learning. You don't do it once, you do it several times, you repeat it, you learn it and embody it in part of your self so that you can talk about it and reflect upon it. And that reflection becomes the guidepost for whether or not we've actually learned it. Can you reflect on what you've learned? And reflection is built into our curriculum. It's literally the hallmark for evaluation, is whether or not you can reflect with your child and your child can successfully reflect with you how they felt learning it. Did they like it? That's an important part of it. Did they understand it? How did they extend their learning? How did they grow and grow that learning into something else? How did that spark a wonder question going forward? It's all of these things are actual better check marks for whether or not you've learned a topic than an actual test. So it's exciting looking at that. And I said, that's got to be one of my favorite projects right now, just because I love dragons for one, but there's so many different places that you can branch off from that. And our particular learner did, which is really exciting. So just looking at a leaf and looking at capillary action is super exciting. But then realizing that capillary action is something that we have in common as humans is really exciting. Looking at how that can then be translated into an art concept is even more exciting, because looking at the color wheel and how those things can translate through. Again, several chunks of curriculum right there, going right through from science, looking at snails, all the way through to color theory and color blending and capillary action. So it's an exciting time for us. And we're very excited to be building all of these different projects going forward. We're getting bigger, we're getting better, we're getting more grades under our belts, and we're just going to keep going, because the creativity of our process, I think, is something that the excitement comes through in every module, so that the kids can feel that excitement too. So Eric, is it possible that you could talk a little bit about Minecraft and how we're incorporating that into our programming?
Yeah, I definitely could. So a big part of Equinox's learning journey is creating a community online that allows people to work with each other and against each other in multitudes of games. A big part of that is included in our Minecraft server, which allows for players to connect. We run a Bedrock server, which means that all console players can join. And we run a computer server, which allows for computer players to join. And through computer and Minecraft servers, we allow people to kind of connect with each other, and we create little groups within essentially what you would get from a classroom, but online. So this really adds to the experience, because it gives people a chance to build and work with their classmates in ways that they might not have thought to do so before in regular homeschooling, as well as it's fully moderated and fully safe. So it works for us to really just manage small groups of people and allow for everybody to get along and everything without having to worry about dealing with the dangers of online gaming.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff in the news lately about Roblox and how they've tried very much to make it a safe environment. We've addressed that basically by creating our own space. That's correct, right?
Yes. So with this Minecraft server specifically, there will be no connections to people that are not screened by us. I run the Minecraft server with the help of a trusted developer that I have that works and creates all of the content for us, including all of the builds. She's very talented, and she allows us to create giant creations that we would otherwise be unable to do. And she also works with a large group of people to create mods and connections that allow us to further education inside the game. Most of this will be on the computer side, but we're working on getting it for the Bedrock side as well. So
that's pretty exciting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to address that a little bit. So what Eric has touched on and then expanded on is how important the term hub is. So how important community is to educating. When we were homeschooling, we always had to look really hard for those social opportunities. And of course, COVID hit, and a lot of those opportunities dried up unless you were already online. It became really important to me in creating Equinox Learning Hub to make sure and assure that we always had a safe meeting space, a place where like-minded parents could meet up and get to know each other, and like-minded kids could be supported in their journeys. Equinox Learning Hub will always be a supportive environment, and the basis and the entire push behind Equinox Learning Hub has always been to create a safe hub. That the building of community is so important nowadays. It's where kids learn all their soft skills. We can teach them all the hard skills out there, but if they don't have the soft skills, they aren't going to succeed in the world. Soft skills are 90% of actually keeping a job. And so we want to make sure that we address both sides, hard skills, soft skills. And leaving out community would mean that we aren't really a hub. So it's so important that we continue to build on that, and we continue to build our community. Chrissy, did you want to address that for especially down south?
Yes. So one of the big things that I noticed as a teacher, especially coming out of COVID and during the whole COVID thing where everybody was going to at-home learning, either was forced by it through the public schools or made that decision on themselves. If you were in the public school, one of the biggest things that we saw was the lack of support. A lot of people didn't know, hey, how do I help teach my child at home? We have all this material, but we're not getting it. And so one of the biggest things that was really important to us, again, going back into the community, is that we wanted with our curriculum that you had that support system through our weekly check-ins. You had that, you had people who understood where you guys were coming from and how we can help get that achievement, see where that goal, where the child was at, and where we can get the child where they need to be. And without having that pressure of, am I doing this right? We're just here to support everybody and also bring in other families who are maybe having same situation or same experiences and able to be part of the online community and be a part of the weekly check-ins and to kind of bounce ideas and make sure that, hey, okay, I'm not alone. I can understand this. So our biggest thing was we really wanted to, one, help community and have that bridge between parents and educators. We are just a bridge. We are just here to support. And so I think a lot of the times what we were seeing a lot during COVID here at the States was we were having teachers that are saying, well, this is my job and this is what you need to do, and not really creating that bridge. And so our biggest focus when we went into this, we're not just a curriculum company where we're just going to hand you a bunch of worksheets and say, there you go, figure it out. We're actually going to be here to support you and whatever your endeavors are when it comes to education with your child.
So the other thing too, with that whole support piece is the ability to build a portfolio. So one of the other services that we offer, just as part of the price, the whole $39.99, one of the services we offer is we help you build a portfolio. So we use several different methods to do this. We'll talk you through it. We won't do it for you, but we will talk you through it. We'll support you through it. We'll help you through it. And then we will help you match your curriculum goals if that's something that you actually need. So, we do remind that, the world is a big place. And so curriculum standards from place to place do differ. We will help you find those curriculum standards if you can't find them on your own. And then we will encourage you to look through them, and we will help match that through so that you are confident and you can see the growth in your child. It doesn't take long to start seeing that growth, but when you do a portfolio, you can really, really see it through pictures, through comments. And again, that reflection becomes so very evident as you go through the portfolio. So it's really exciting to be able to build those portfolios together. And I said, we will support you through that process. So one of the other things too about community is the concept of nonprofit. So Equinox Learning Hub, as of December, will be a fully accredited, incorporated nonprofit. So we are super excited about that. We have been working for a year to make sure that we had all of the paperwork and all of the things in place to be able to be a nonprofit. And so we're excited to go forward and be the best version of our company that we can absolutely be, truly helping our community out by providing things like scholarships. So it's exciting all around. It's a very exciting new prospect for us. It's a new vision, and it adds to our already existing vision that we had, that we build community, that we build hope, and that we provide a safe space for people to learn and grow. So have you had a lot of excitement down south about this yet?
Yes, actually. So the people who I talked to, and when we talked about our vision of becoming a nonprofit and how we want to build community through our work through education and getting the partnerships in with that, seems to be lots of excitement about that. One of the big things I think we also have talked about is how important, again, how community and supporting other small businesses and getting, helping other small businesses grow in their endeavors so that, kind of meet the same goals that we have of supporting community and supporting community. So, so
it's really exciting all around. Like the concept of how much we can start building our community is really cool. One of the other really interesting kind of segues that happened as well while we were talking about nonprofit and supporting things was how important our company is for supporting new authors as well. So I'm super excited to be bringing on a person that Eric knows quite well. So I'm hoping to get the copy of their book really soon. Did you want to talk about that a little bit, Eric, about how we can help new authors as well?
I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say on this matter, but we can work quite well with other authors in our book reading department. So Equinox Hub allows for a YouTube channel that promotes and allows for smaller writers that maybe aren't getting as much traction to work within the YouTube channel and to promote their books from within us. And if you've got your book has any learning or any education that can be done through it, then we can create it into, we can build it into curriculum that allows for.
So if I can just jump in for a second, I think what I'm most excited to talk about with this one is that the way that we form our curriculum is we start with an idea. We start with a little nugget. And a lot of the times those nuggets, they come from books or poems, sometimes just ideas. And then I get an idea and then I go find a book that supports it. But all of our curriculum starts with a little teeny weeny book, a little teeny weeny idea and thought pattern where we look at it and we go, possibilities. We workshop it quite often. We'll bring it to the group. We workshop it and go, okay, I can see we can do this. Oh my gosh, I can see we can do this. Oh my gosh, I can see we can do this. And then we form this into this beautiful curriculum ball that basically attacks the curriculum from lots of different angles. And one of the most important things that these books fit into is, of course, Equinox Learning Hub. We work with the Wheel of the Year. So that is literally the impetus in the beginning of everything as we look at, hey, we're moving into Yule. It's because we are moving into Yule now. So when we were forming the Yule pod, we looked at it and we went, what are some really great books that really highlight the learning concepts that we have? What's seasonal? Seasonal learning is really important. So one of the really important things that our curriculum does, which has kind of come up a few times, is we have Samhain up for a period of time. Here we go. And then when we reach the end of that time, you're given more than enough warning, and then we will end that pod. So that pod is then going to be done for that year, because you know that going into Yule, the next section, you're going to revisit a lot of those curriculum things in a completely different way with lots of different projects that's entirely seasonal. And so we're not asking you to go out and go swimming in a river when you're in the middle of winter. So, I mean, if you want to go do that, you could, but at the end of the day, we are looking at entirely seasonal learning that's literature based, where we then branch off into a whole bunch of different STEM learning. So when we look at new authors, or we look at authors that don't get a lot of traction, which is kind of what we look for, we promote them, we put their website up, we put a link to buy their book. We basically do everything we can possibly do that book becomes beloved, that book becomes something that gets a lot of traction, and that book hopefully then actually increases in revenue, because we want to help new authors out. We want to help those books become big. And the last thing we're going to talk about before we go today is banned books, because I have just admitted all of our curriculum is based basically on books. That's where our ideas come from. Do we use banned books? Yes, we do. 100% do. I don't go out of my way to go, oh my gosh, there's the banned book list. Let's pick all of them off of there. But a large part of them seem to come from there. And I don't know why that is, other than the fact that they're just really good books. They deserve traction. We need to talk about important things. We need to talk about difficult topics. Kids are more than capable of talking and learning about difficult things, and identifying, like creating an identity and identifying certain difficult subjects, even though they're young. It's where learning starts, is when they're young. So we need to do this important learning. We need to look at some of these books and go, they deserve to still exist. 100%, they deserve to still be out there. And so, yes, the answer to that question is 100%. We absolutely do use banned books, and we are not apologizing for that at all. We encourage people to look at that list critically and realize why those books are on there. And when we look at it, we realize 100% banned books is not a thing for us. We make these decisions very carefully, and we pick our books very carefully. And I'm very happy with the way that things are going that way. So just quickly, I'm going to pass it on to Chrissy. She's going to talk about how you can get involved with ELH.
All right. So some of the ways that you can get involved with ELH is on here through social media, just kind of keep updates and what's going on. We are building curriculum at a pace. It takes a lot of time for us to get the creativity. And trying to make sure that everything hits the standards and the academicness that we need to make sure that kids are going to be successful as they grow up and go into other endeavors. So we want to take our time with that. So you can always check out our information on our website that's listed below, www.equinoxlearning.com. We also do a seasonal magazine. And so that's free. That has wonderful tips on homeschooling and things throughout the season and family activities.
Papa Dave's Chili is in there.
We have wonderful recipes that are dear to us. And then also, if we don't have your age group right now for the curriculum, that doesn't mean we're not going to help you. There are ways that you can go onto our website and you can join our group, and you can still be part of the weekly check-ins. We can still help you where you guys are currently at and build onto that. So you can still be part of the whole Equinox Hub. And while we work on building up to that grade level, you can still have access to us. We want to make sure that everybody have access to a education specialist who can help you on your educational journey.
Absolutely. And of course, they also would have access, of course, to our amazing Minecraft. And eventually, just quickly before we wrap up here, we also in the future, just talking about future endeavors. So Eric will also be doing a kids version of, are we allowed to say Dungeons and Dragons, Eric?
No.
Okay. Not that then.
We'll just play role-playing games.
Based role-playing game that is not Dungeons and Dragons, because that is a protected name. And
yeah.
So we are not doing that. But we will be using some different systems. I can't remember the system that Leon talked about. But anyways, we will be doing that. That will also be on our Discord server. And there will also be like some book chattiness that's going to be coming up in the future as well. So we can talk about kids' books and how do you pick them and that kind of thing. And of course, we're always going to be having our little podcastness that talks about all the different things education-wise and ELH wise, and might even give you some behind the scenes look at, when we're banging our head on a wall, kind of going, oh, creativity, it hurts. And sometimes we're also going to take you on some of our journeys. So we may go visit the Parthenon down in
Nashville,
Tennessee. I'm going there in a couple of weeks. I'm super excited. We're also going to take you on trips in Edmonton up here. A lot of people don't know that's where I am, but I'm in Canada. And so we've got lots of snow. I'll take you on journeys with that and show you some of the cool things that are up here as well. So when we go on trips, you're going to go on trips. We're going to have lots of different journeys. So if we go to a museum, you're going to go to a museum if you want to. That's part of what building community is all about. And that's literally what we're offering. In the future, it's going to happen. It's exciting. Chrissy, do you have anything else to add?
No, we're just excited to let you guys know a little bit more about us. If you have any questions, please reach out to us either through social media or on our website, on our contact form. So we'd be more happy to answer any questions that you have. So we just thank you.
And if you are super interested and excited, do go to our website. It has an easy link on to go log in, I think you have to create a quick account, but then you can go and check out a sample unit. So every season, so right now the Yule sample unit up, it's Harold and the North Pole.
Right now we have the Samhain up, but Yule will be up in a couple of weeks. So.
Thanks. Sorry. So you'll be up in a couple of weeks. Right now, Samhain, the sample unit is...
Can't think of it at the top of my head.
Right now, but there's one there. It's awesome. You will love it. I think it might be where the wild things are.
I'll give it to you just a second. Chicken on a Broom.
Oh gosh, it's Chicken on a Broom. Even better. Oh my God, I love that book. I love that book. So if you are interested in Chicken on a Broom, super awesome kids tale about a chicken and and his friends and how they go and face their fears in a barn. Super exciting. So go check that out. And I said Yule coming up would be Harold and the North Pole. So that's Harold of the Harold and the Purple Crayon fame. Super exciting. Eric's done a great job reading both of those. So again, check it out. Check us out. We welcome you and we welcome your questions. So thank you so much for joining us. Eric, do you have anything to add?
I mean, with Equinox, we're really trying to build a community first before a curriculum company or consulting company. It's important that going forward we connect and we really branch out of our areas. So I'm excited that we were able to do this today, and I'm very, very thankful that we have a platform to broadcast this all on. So
absolutely. And I said I'm so excited to do more broadcasts in the future, and I'm super excited to meet you guys. And as I said, drop us a line. We'll answer your questions as best we can, and connecting to people is just the power of what we have at our fingertips right now. The more people we connect with, the bigger our hub becomes. So join us in the wheel of the year as it turns, because honestly, it's just going to get bigger and better. So thanks so much. I'm so excited. You guys all take care.
Bye.
Bye.
bye.